Hi everyone. Today I would like to talk about FPDS and how to use it part of your government contracting process to win more government contracts. I'm going to talk about what FPDS is, why you need to use it, and how to use it. So let's get into it. So what is FPDS? It stands for Federal Procurement Data System, and it's a database where the government reports all the federal government contract spending that are $10,000 and above. Why is it important? Because it highlights who bought what from whom and for how much. And this data includes the contractors, so who won the contract, the agencies, the award amount, the NAICS code, and the set aside code as well. And why it exists? Because from the government standpoint, they want to be transparent with every dollar they spend. So this way they can be accountable for how they spend federal money, which is our tax money. And it helps agencies plan and manage their procurement. And also as companies, it allows us to analyze past awards to base our pricing based off and also know how our competition is doing. So why every government contractor should use FPDS? One, and this is very important, you find real awarded contracts. So you could see who's buying what you sell. Let's say you are selling a specific equipment. This way you could see which agency is buying that specific equipment. Second thing is you can analyze your competitors. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. You could see which agencies are awarding them contracts, the amount of money they are winning. So you could base your pricing strategy based on that. And also you could see kind of trends. So based on the agency, based on the price, based on the NAICS code, with these combinations, you'll be able to understand the market, your competition, and develop your pricing strategy. 3, you can identify expiring opportunities. This is very important. Government agencies work in cycles. So if they bought something last year, there's a likelihood that they're going to buy it again. So this way you can track the process and the cycle of an agency. The fourth and very important one is you can target the right agencies. You can actually see which agencies are spending money in your industry. So if you see, for example, that the DoD spends a lot of money for your industry, next time you see a contract from them, you know that they are spending a lot in this specific NAICS code or niche or industry. So you are more likely to bid on that because you know that they are spending money in your field. 5, you can study past awards for proposal intel. This way you could guide it to develop your pricing. If you're able to see how much the service you're offering is being bought for, then you would be able to provide a competitive price. If you know it's, for example, for $100,000 and you are providing the same service for $95,000, you know that your bid is competitive. And finally, it replaces speculation, especially when it comes to pricing and competition and understanding the agency's needs. It reduces all of that and makes your decisions data-driven decisions because you know the money where it's being spent and who is spending that money on what NAICS codes by which agencies. So it's very important that we add FPDS part of our research and our government contracting process. Now that I've covered what FPDS is and why we need to use FPDS, now I'm going to show you how to use it. So you want to head to FPDS.gov. So that is the website. It's very outdated, which makes it difficult to work with, but I promise you the value in it is magnificent and it's very important. So bear with me and bear with the platform. You want to head here and then you want to click enter in the search and it will direct you to this view. Now it's not the best, as I've said, search out there, but we're going to have to work with it. Now, let's say we are in a specific industry and we want to see, and in a specific location as well, and we want to see how much businesses are being awarded contracts, what kind of services are being awarded contracts, and who are the agencies that are spending money in my industry, in my state. So let's start with that. I want you to click on advanced search, and then I want you to add a new filter. And we're going to search using filters because otherwise it's not going to work. What I want you to do here is click on select, and then we're going to start by choosing the NAICS code. So if you don't know what NAICS code is, I have a video on that. Make sure you check it out. But if you want to find out what your NAICS code is, there's a free tool we have on samsearch.co called NAICS AI Lookup. So I search here for construction. It's completely free, by the way. And I found that this NAICS code is for commercial and institutional building construction. So let's start with that. I'm going to come back here and add that and click on search. So with that, we are able to see all the past awards for this specific NAICS code, which is construction. You can view this, but this is still broad. What we want to do is we want to narrow down a bit more. So let's go and select a state. So we're going to do advanced search again, add, and we are going to select entity state name. So we want to only see award data in our specific state. And I'm going to go ahead and choose California. And now we have less results, but still a lot. So we see that all of these awarded contracts are in commercial and institutional construction and in the state of California, but we want to get kind of more narrowed down. So what I'm going to do next is I want to see the set aside for veteran-owned businesses, because that's what my business is. So I'm going to specifically filter on veteran-owned businesses. So what I want you to do is click again on advanced search, add, and then in here, we're going to select type of set aside, and I'm going to just write down veteran. And now we're only seeing veteran-owned businesses set aside in the state of California for institutional building construction. So now it's really narrowed down. One more thing is that we only want to see spending data for the past 2 to 3 years, because beyond that, it's not really relevant to me. So I'm going to narrow down by clicking on advanced search again, and then I'm going to click on add, and then I'm going to choose either the created date or the date signed. I'm going to go with date signed. And then here I'm going to say that I want to only see, it's a bit small, let me show you here. I want to choose from 2024, January. So that's what I want, January 1st. And then end date, which is here, I'm going to choose today. And let's click on search. And just like that, now we have 288 results. We started from thousands, hundreds, I don't recall, probably like 10,000 results. Now we have spending data for our specific NAICS code in our state for the type of set aside we want, and then in the past 2 years or even 18 months. So with that, now we can have a look at each one of these. But before I do that, I want to show you another example of how to use it. So this way, we are trying to see, in this example, I showed you, we're trying to see the spending in my specific niche or NAICS code in my state. Now, let's say you want to get an intel on a competition you have. How do you do that? And that's what I'm going to show you next. So first, we want to go to sam.gov. First, we want to find a competition unique identity code. So that's the code they use in the government. You probably have it. It's called UEI. So that's how we're going to search for them on FPDS. But how do we find this code? What you want to do is you want to go to sam.gov, click on search, and then you can click on entity information, and you have to be signed in. Let me sign in. So now I'm signed in. It's, by the way, easy and free to sign up for sam.gov, so make sure you do that. Once you're signed in, you come here and you search for the competition you want to get their UEI or their unique identity code here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for my competition here. I'm going to paste their name, Angst Construction, and I'm going to search. And as you can see, we have a profile for them here, and there's their UEI. So we're going to take this and go back to FPDS, and then we're going to click on Advanced Search, Add, and then in here, we're going to choose Unique Entity ID. And we're going to paste this. And just like that, I'm able to see every single dollar the government spent on them. So this company has won a lot of contracts, almost 270 contracts. So there's a lot of data for them on all the contracts that they have won. Now, this is very important. If you know that they are a direct competition for you, then you could see which government contracts they're going after. You could see how much they're pricing and how much they are winning. And then you could also see where they're winning, which agency is awarding them these contracts. So that's the second way that you could use FPDS, which is to get intel on your competition. Now, the third way, and this one is also important, is to see how much and where the agency you want to work with is spending. So what you want to do is you want to come here, and I've done this already, and you select the agency name. So you go and select the agency name, and then you put in the code. Sorry, you put in the name of the agency. So what I did in my example was choose Department of the Air Force. And this way, I've also chosen a date just this year. I'm able to see which NAICS codes they're spending money on and how much they're spending money on. So I could base my decision based on that. Do I want to work with this agency? And also you could see the pattern. So if they are getting a landscaping contract out every single year around June, July, or May, because they have a lot of landscaping in the summer, then that's something that you could prepare for and plan for. And since you have the money, how much, then you would know what to price your bid on. Now, once we have this list, you're probably confused about these results. I'm going to show you how to understand this one by one. So let's click on this and we end up with a page like this. So I'm going to explain to you what each one of these mean. So this means that it was awarded. So the award status is final. And then you could see here who's the agent that prepared this and who approved it as well. So this could be a point of contact for you. Here's the award ID and the reference ID and the solicitation ID. This ID is very important because if you want to get more information about the contract, you're not going to get a lot of information here. So a pro tip that I'm going to give you is what I usually do is I take this solicitation ID, I copy it, and I go back to SAM.gov. Now in SAM.gov, I'm going to go to search and then I'm going to go on contracting and then I'm going to click status inactive as well. And I'm going to search for the solicitation ID that I just got. And just like that, I have all the information about the contract. So I have the description, I have the attachments, I have the set aside, I have everything. So even if you don't find a lot of details here, you can always get the solicitation ID and search for it on SAM.gov. Obviously, you have to check the inactive filter as I've shown you. And with that, you could see how much they paid when it was signed. So it was signed in 2014, the period of performance, the completion date, and here's the obligation. So it's $71,000. You can get more information about the department here. But what's more important is the business that won this. So here you can see their UEI, which is their unique identity code. And then that's their address. But what I want you to do is I want you to scroll down and here's where the details that you want. So here's where you get the kind of the place of performance and the description. So you get here the NAICS code, the service code, the product or service code, and then in most cases, they have a description here of the work that was done. So this is important as well. In this case, they have just mentioned the NAICS code, and then you can also see here that the description is construction, and here's the NAICS code and the product or service code or PSC code. So now you have a very good picture about what was spent by whom and for how much. And if the details on this page are not enough, you get the solicitation ID and then you go to SAM.gov as I have shown you, and you are able to get a lot more details in here as well. So with this, you can do a lot of research, and this is an important step before you price your bid or before you even bid, because this way you know how much you should set as your pricing, and also you are able to tell how much your competition is winning and what kind of contracts they're winning as well. And also you could see which agencies are spending in your niche. So if you're in landscaping and you see that the DoD in California, they're spending a lot on landscaping, then you can target this specific agency in that specific location to win government contracts with them. I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please list them in the comments. And if you enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe. I always post a lot of content on government contracting, and I try to help as much as possible. So yeah, thank you so much and stay tuned. Bye-bye.